right there. See it at the top? 3.725/6. Go ahead and pull this one up and we'll go start at this.
That's how I feel about life right now.
You consider this a little bit easier than the first section we did?
Mhm.
Yes.
This one's gonna go by quick for you.
So since I got this wrong, does that mean I can go back in there and put the right answer in? Or is it just wrong completely?
You have to do another similar exercise after we do the problem. But I'm glad you sent this problem because I didn't cover one of these the other day, and that way I can cover it. Somebody tell me what the day is.
2 weeks until I go to the beach.
102, 6, 18, 14. Okay, now, when you do this problem, and the way I show students to do this problem is to do the parallel and the perpendicular, and that way you get practice on both. So, let me say that again. The way that I show students to do this is I show you both the parallel and the perpendicular, and then you can get the extra practice. I don't need anybody emailing me saying, I don't understand, you're doing parallel and perpendicular, but the directions ask for perpendicular. That's why I show you both. Okay? So, first of all, the rule that I gave y'all for parallel and perpendicular is for a parallel line, m sub 1 is what to m sub 2? They're equal. Remember that. I gave you that the other day. And for a perpendicular line, m sub 1 times m sub 2 is equal to -1. Now there is the two rules that I gave y'all last time we met, and that's why I gave them to you, because of this type of problem. Now the way that I show students to do this problem is I tell you to draw a big table with 3 columns. Kind of like method 2 of graphing, except it has 3 columns instead of 2. And you put your equation right here. Y is equal to -2/3 x plus 4. Now, what I usually tell students to do here is make sure that y is by itself. So if I give you 2x plus 4y is equal to 8, what do you need to do before you start the problem? You need to solve for what? Y. Okay, so make sure when you start one of these problems, perpendicular and parallel, that the y is by what? By itself. So this one is by itself, so all you have to do is just draw you a little arrow, because that would be, if y wasn't by itself, you would go through and do it and get m sub 1 is equal to what? Negative what? 2/3. In other words, find the slope. And you've already got it right there. It's -2/3, so you just write it down at the bottom. Now, use your rule. We're going to make this column the parallel column. We're going to make this column the perpendicular column. So let's do this. Let me just do this. I'm going to change this. I'm going to make this one green. And I'm going to make this one orange. Okay, so my perpendicular is going to be orange and my parallel is going to be green. So, down here, I go down here at the bottom and I draw an arrow. This is my second step after I solve for y, and after I draw an arrow over here like that. And once I get into this column, I write in green, m sub 2 is equal to what?
2/3.
Why is it negative 2/3?
Because parallel line has the same slope.
Because of your what? Your rule. Okay? All right? Then you draw another arrow into the third column, and your orange slope is going to be what?
3/2.
What?
3/2.
Why is it 3/2? Because it's the opposite what?
Reciprocal.
Reciprocal. And that's what you do for your parallel and your perpendicular line. Now, let me ask y'all a question. Right here, I'm going to put 0, oops, sorry. 0, comma, negative 14. And right here, I'm going to put 0, comma, negative 14.
Oh, where are you getting the 14 from? Middle school?
Somebody tell me what I have here.
On the y-intercept?
What's this? What is that called, though? What is this called?
Y-intercept?
It's called y-intercept. What's that called? What do you put on the graph?
Points.
That's a point. And what is this?
What's your X?
The slope?
Slope. Say it again.
Points. Slope.
Point slope form.
What are we going to use?
Point
Point
slope.
slope form.
Good job. Point slope equation. What do we got here?
Points and slope.
Point slope equation. So here I'm going to use y minus y sub 1 is equal to m times x minus x sub 1.
What? Could you do that again?
This should have been in computer class.
Well, at least my video is saved.
Right.
That's why they gave me that. Because right now I would be mad because if I had that big camera, the one I got started with, the video would be gone. So we'll just wait for it to come back up. Y'all continue to work. Use your y minus y sub 1. Go ahead and do that. You should have 2 equations when you finish. I'll wait for this to come back up, and I'll get us back to where we were. Give me a second to get everything back up. While it's pulling up, I'll have to text IT. And let them know that this computer did it again.
Priority 1 message coming in on secure channel.
I'll just write an email so it'll be official.
Smash the box. Did you see blood lines?
what number it was, 3.749.
25-6.
Man, 1, 2, 6, 18, 14, audible, and whiteboard.
So I wonder
Welcome
why-
back to our show. We just had a little bit of technical difficulty, and
We went to commercial.
yeah, went to a commercial, and I've got to redraw everything. Sorry about that, everybody.
They probably fast forwarded through that part.
Yeah, they
Like
probably
I
did
did.
because I'm so boring.
Yeah, you are.
All right, y is equal to negative 2/3 x plus 4.
This is why I don't get work.
M is equal to negative 3/2. Is that 2/3? Oh,
2/3.
I'm sorry. 2/3. And my green is gonna be M is equal to negative 2/3.
No, you're supposed to say M sub 2 is.
Which doesn't matter, you can put M or M sub 2, it doesn't matter, M sub 2. That just means your second, that means the second slope and the third slope. You don't have to make it M sub 2, it's up to you what you want to make it. M sub 3, or M is equal to 3/2. And we have 0, negative 14, and
So on perpendicular lines, you always do the reciprocal.
opposite reciprocal for perpendicular. Oh, I forgot to write that rule again. Parallel line, M sub 1 is equal to M sub 2.
Parallel line, or,
And perpendicular lines, M sub 1 times M sub 2 is equal to negative 1. Therefore, M sub 2 is your opposite, what?
reciprocal.
Reciprocal. The opposite sign and the reciprocal. So if this was negative 2/3, this is going to be 3/2. If this was positive 4, this would be negative 1/4. If this was negative 1/3, this would be positive 3. And now you just do what you've been taught. Y minus negative 14 is equal to negative 2/3 times x minus 0. Y plus 14 is equal to negative 2/3 x, and y is equal to negative 2/3 x minus 14.
On the top, is that x minus 1? When you were doing the y minus?
X minus 0. And the orange would be y minus negative 14 is equal to 3/2 times x minus 0. Y plus 14 is equal to 3/2 x. Y is equal to 3/2 x minus 14. Now, what does the problem ask for?
Perpendicular.
Perpendicular, so here is your answer. Now, the reason I tell students to use both the parallel and the perpendicular is it gives you extra practice for each problem. For each problem, you're doing an additional problem. Because if they ask you for parallel, you're doing an extra what? I mean, perpendicular, you're doing an extra what? Parallel. If they ask you for parallel, you're doing an extra what? Perpendicular. And it gives you extra practice. And that's how you do that. So let's do another one, because I know y'all probably sent a couple of these, because I didn't cover it in the review the other day.
I said very.
Okay, good. So I'm going to go to the next problem and see which problem y'all sent me. And that'll be 3.741/10. Let's see if that one's like it. No, this one is find an equation of a line. So we'll do that one and then we'll go back and do another one. So this one says, and I gave you the, let me get the number again. I'm sorry. This is 3.741/10. 3.741/10. And it disappeared. Went away. Okay, I guess I'll just pull it up again. Find an equation of the line having the specified slope and contain the indicated point. So what do they give you?
Give you the slope.
They give you a point and a what?
Slope.
So you use the,
Well, do they give you the slope? Because it says m equals, and then it's
what is m?
slope. I didn't see the column.
M is equal to -7/8, and then what is it in between there? A semicolon, meaning, okay, that's the slope. What's after the slope? A point. What is it? That's for me for lunch. I'll give you half of it when I eat it. Y minus parentheses is equal to parentheses times x minus parentheses. Because I've told you, and this is something that I do, and I have several degrees, I still do this. When you ask me this question, I will do it just like this. Because negatives and fractions will get you from this problem. Okay, so what goes in this spot?
Y1,
And what goes here?
-7/8.
And what goes here?
X.
-3.
See? There's one of those negatives. And if you don't put parentheses, it'll get you. Did it? It'll get you. So y minus 1 is equal to -7/8x. Well, I'm going to write -7/8 times x what?
+3.
Mm-hmm. And see, if you don't do this correct, when you distribute that negative, it's going to make it even more incorrect. So y minus 1 is equal to -7/8 x minus 21/8. Y minus what? What is the formula?
Y minus Y sub one.
Okay? Which way do we read?
That's right.
So this is x of 1 and this is what?
Y.
Plug and chug. Okay, now I'm going to bring this -1 over. But when I bring it over here, I'm not going to use -1. What am I going to use?
One.
Yeah, I'm going to use +1, but I'm not going to use 1. I'm going to use what?
1 over 8.
Not 1 over 8.
8 over 1.
8 over 8.
8 over 8.
What?
What's anything over itself?
1?
Okay. Common denominators. Good job. Got to have a common denominator.
Got it.
Because I always get that question, where do 8 8s come from? Yes, sir.
So on the top, you just multiply that 3 into 7.
Yeah, because this is 3 over what?
3 over.
Always do that if you have to. When you multiply a whole number times a fraction, make that whole number a fraction, because that way you won't get confused. And your final answer is y is equal to -7/8 x minus, I have no idea, 13/8.
Yes.
And that is your final answer.
Thank you.
Okay? All right, let's do a nerd. I ain't forgot about the parallel and
But
perpendicular.
oh my gosh.
I want to make sure I cover everybody's question before we go back and do repeats.
But in the point, when they give you the point, it's a 5.
What do you mean?
I thought the points on the last one was -3, 5, or is it negative?
There's the problem we just did.
Yeah.
-3, 1.
Oh, it's 1, okay, never mind, makes sense.
Okay, the next one that I've been sent is, that's 3.74911. Okay, this is 4911. Next problem on your homework. All right, try that one. 4 and 7, that's your point. And then x plus 4y is equal to 3. X plus 4y is equal to 3. Uh-oh. They don't give us a point and a slope. They give us a point and an equation. So what do you got to find? The slope. That's right. Because it's the point and slope equation. Where our point is 4, 7. What do we not have? We don't have a slope, so we got to find the slope. X plus 4y is equal to 3. How do we find the slope? How do we find the slope?
Get
Get
the y by itself.
y by itself.
But couldn't you just look at it and be like, there's nothing for an X, so.
Well, no. Can't do that, because you gotta divide through by 4 to get y by itself. So 4y is equal to negative x plus 3, divide by 4, divide by 4. So y is equal to negative 1/4 x plus 3/4. And what's our slope? And now, you've got what you need. You got a point and a what? Slope. Remember me telling you, you've got to have a point and a what? Slope. If you don't start the problem off with a point and a slope, you're going to have to get a point and a slope.
So if you had to graph this, you would graph 4.7, and then you would look at the 3/4 and go,
No. We're not even talking about graphing this. But if you was to graph it, you would plug in points right here. Y by itself. Yeah, you would do 3/4, plot 3/4, be a negative slope, which means left to right down, and then 1 up, 4 over, 1 up, 4 over, 1 down, 4 over, 1 down, 4 over.
okay, so since 3/4 is the y-intercept,
But that's going to be a mess because it's a fraction.
but you wouldn't do like 3 up and 4 over?
All right, so I'm going to go over here. I'm going to move this over. It's not going to let me, but. Now, what did it do a while ago when I clicked on one digit?
But can't you make it bigger? And that,
It did the whole thing. And I asked the guy, when he came and did this with me, I said, why do you click on one thing one time? And he said, I don't know. He said, I never noticed that. I said, well, it does it.
but I thought those simple things were to make it bigger.
Yeah, it'll make it bigger like this.
Um,
That's all it'll do. I want to move it over. Usually it does the whole thing. See? Well, that one did 2 lines. Okay, so now we got a point and a slope. So that's part 1. Finding the slope. Now we've got a point and a slope. 4, 7, and m is equal to negative 1/4. Y minus parentheses is equal to parentheses times x minus parentheses. And we're going to put a 7 here. We're going to put a 4 here. And we're going to put a negative 1/4 here. So y minus 7 is equal to negative 1/4 x plus what? Plus
Hold on, I was typing it in the computer.
You don't need to type it in the calculator. That is not a good
I was
answer.
checking my answer to make sure it was
Okay?
right.
What's 1/4 times 4?
What's the point?
1.
$1.99.
$1.06.
I was just telling his answer.
Y is equal to negative 1/4 x. And 1 plus 7 is. And that's your answer. So this one had 2 parts. The first one we did before this one, hold on. That one only had 1 part. Why did this one have 1 part? I'm sorry,
I already had one.
not this one. There. Wait a minute. Oh, I know why, because I know, shut up. The one we did before, the problem gave you a point and a slope, so you didn't have to do anything. Remember me telling you, if it gives you a point and a slope, that's the easier of the 3. This one gave us a point and a what? It's not called the point equation. It's called the point what? Slope equation. You got to find the slope. And that's why here we found the slope by getting y equal to something. And that's what we did here. And then once we got y is equal to something, we could find the what? The slope. And then we put that slope beside the point slope equation, plug and shove. All right, let's see what else we got. (3.753/12). All right, try that one. And I will do both, parallel and perpendicular. This is through -3, -5, parallel to 4x plus 3y is equal to 7.
We had to rewatch the video. He's like, oh my gosh, I don't get you to get that. This is great.
So the first thing I'm going to do is turn my pen on, draw my big table, and 4x plus 3y is equal to 7. And I got to write my parallel rule up here. Parallel, m sub 1 is equal to m sub 2. Perpendicular, m sub 1 times m sub 2 is equal to -1.
Priority 1 message coming in on secure
Make
channel.
sure you make it back and forth, all right? It'll take an hour to get out there.
It's getting cold.
What?
I said it's getting cold. At first I was really hot, so.
Well, those two women right there are staring at something, so they must be staring at him saying, why is that child out here by himself? There it is. Yep, I was right. Because there were two mamas down there, and they were doing like this. So that must be him. He just went across there.
Like, I'm 17, I'm just short for my.
Yeah.
Thanks for judging me.
Yeah. All right. What's the next step here?
That's when you put the.
Solve for what?
Do you have?
Solve for y. Why do you solve for y? Because you got to have what?
The slope.
Slope. So 3y, oops,
4x minus
3y is equal to -4x plus 7. Y is equal to -4/3 x plus 7/3. M sub 1 is equal to -4/3.
Now, will that make it different since the problem was actually 4x minus 3y instead of 4x plus 3y?
It's 4x plus 3y is equal to 7. So I bring the 4x over, it becomes -4x, and then divide by 3.
I don't know where the problem is. I thought it was mine.
I'm plugging in different numbers. Can we go over some of the graphing ones?
you want me to do it while I'm doing this at the same time, or what?
No, I was just asking.
All right, so I'm gonna take my green marker. Let me use a different color, because somebody in a minute's gonna complain
It
about the
was coming,
green.
you see.
Huh?
It was
I
coming.
figured somebody was gonna complain.
I
So,
just like, was just thinking.
Neon.
I know. -3, -5, and m sub 2 is equal to what?
Negative 4 times.
And we'll make the last one, we'll make it orange. So what's m sub 3?
Like, no, root 3 over -4.
3 over 4, opposite sign, reciprocal. All right, y'all do the rest of it. You ride an elevator, he likes to ride the elevator. Did you bring the charger?
Crap.
Here. You'll have to sit up here before you get back over there.
No, it's not dead yet.
Okay. Okay, Christine.
Not that big. Absolutely.
That's good.
Y minus parentheses is equal to parentheses, bracket, x minus parentheses. And what goes here? -5 and -4/3 goes here. And then -3 goes there. Not using purple, sorry. What's y minus the -5?
5 plus
-4/3 x minus 4. Now I skipped a couple of steps there, but let's check it. What's a negative times a negative?
Positive.
And what's +3 times -4/3?
Negative.
-4. The 3's cancel. Because that's 3 over 1.
Okay, but what -3 times a negative fraction make it a positive?
What's -3 times negative?
Positive.
What's +3 times -4/3?
Oh, okay, then I'm just.
-4. And now, y is equal to -4/3 x. -4 plus -5 is what? All right, so that's your your parallel line. I have no idea what they're asking for. I haven't looked. Don't want to look because I'm doing both. So there's parallel. And now let's do perpendicular. Y minus a -5 is equal to 3/4 times x minus the -3. Y plus 5 is equal to 3/4 x plus 9/4 and get it. It's like beating a dead horse. So y is equal to 3/4 x plus 9/4. I'm going to bring this 24ths over. So what's 9 minus 20?
-1.
9 minus 20 is what?
-1.
-11/4. That's your answer. The 5 is over what? 1. You got to have a common denominator. How many times will 1 go into 4?
3 times.
4 times. 4 times 5 is 20. So when I bring this 5 over, it changes into a 24th because this is 9/4. And 9 minus 20 is -11. Now, what does the problem ask for?
Parallel.
Parallel, so your blue answer is the answer you're looking for. So I'm glad we did that problem, so that way that would reinforce the problem we did first. Alrighty, let's do a nerd. No sneezing in class.
Bless you.
3.757/13. That reminds me, I gotta send an email. Alright, try that. And I'm going to freeze it so I can write an email to technical support. Before I forget.
Do you know what number this one was?
This is 3/7/13.
Last time it locked down, didn't it? The Promethean, didn't it lock down and I had to unplug it a couple of times, didn't it? Yes, you did. Thank you, class.
Oh, bless her.
What's today? Wednesday,
Wednesday the 18th.
Saturday, Monday. Monday was the 16th, right?
Sometimes I would have to like extend days.
What did you say, Ms. Lewis?
Sometimes I wish I could extend days.
Well, if you could do that, then that means you could extend time. And if you could extend time, you would be a very valuable asset to people. All right, Corinthians sucks. Please fix it.
Well said.
Don't forget to take roll.
All right. Now, for y'all's benefit, I'm going to. Oh, it's frozen. I'm going to do both. I'm going to do the parallel and the perpendicular. And close the windows, sorry. Do we have to solve for y on this one? Yes. 2x minus 3y is equal to 4. Negative 3y is equal to negative 2x plus 4. Divided by negative 3. So y is equal to 2/3 x minus 4/3. So m sub 1 is equal to 2/3. Therefore, what's m sub 2?
2/3.
And m sub 3?
3 halves.
What?
3 halves.
What?
One and one half?
I said it
3
twice.
halves.
Yeah, but you didn't say something else. Negative 3 halves.
10x.
And I'm making a big deal out of it because that'll make the problem wrong.
Okay.
I mean, totally wrong. Even
Yeah.
though you know what you're doing, it still makes it wrong because of the sign. So what's our point, 3 and 5? 3 and 5. That's parallel. And this is perpendicular. So y minus 5 is equal to 2/3 times x minus 3. Y minus 5 is equal to 2/3 x. What's 2/3 times negative 3? Negative 2, Hubert. That's right, class. Y is equal to 2/3 x. What's negative 2 plus 5?
3.
And that's the parallel equation. Negative 3/2 times x minus 3. What's 9/2 plus 10/2? And that's your perpendicular equation. Now they ask him, write one that is what? Perpendicular, so that's your answer. The answer that y'all typed in, I don't think is correct. So we'll type it in and see what the answer is. Negative 3/2 x plus 19/2. Nice work. You feel good about yourself. All right, let's move on and see if there's anything else review-wise, because we've already covered enough of those. I think y'all should have a good feeling on those. Let me see if there's any. This says 3.7, but that's the same. Find an equation of a line. Here.
I wanted to ask, since we're on 7.3, and then on the handout that you gave us, it only says that 7.4 and 7.5 need to be covered, and then we're having another test. Is that we're having another test next week? Like, you're not gonna extend it out for 2 weeks?
No, because we're going to have to test whenever we finish the material. Hold on, let me get, I'm doing something else right now. Don't forget your question and I'll go back over it, okay? What chapter are we on? Because those are 5.6. Okay, I'm looking for 7. I'm seeing if there's any more. Chapter 3. What section is the graphing section?
3.7. Do you want me
Okay.
to send you one real quick?
Yeah, send me one right quick. That way I'll have to look for it.
Alright.
Because I need to take the roll while y'all are working on this problem.
Okay.
This is 3.717/3. Okay, now let me go ahead and explain something to y'all about the directions for graphing. And this is any math class that you're in. Graph using coordinates, ordered pairs, or points. All right, when you see those directions, graph using coordinates, graph using ordered pairs, graph using points, which method are you going to use? when you see the directions, graph using coordinates, graph using ordered pairs, graph using points. There's 3 sets of directions.
Okay.
What method do you use?
The point slide?
Nope.
No, the.
Order.
Coordinates.
Chart block, method
Oh,
1.
oh, yeah, yeah.
Method 1. So put method 1 here. Graph using the intercepts, or it may say the X and Y intercepts. When you see this set of directions, which method are you going to use? Exactly, the intercept method, method 2. Now, why am I telling you this? Well, in my homework and on my test, if you don't use the method that you're supposed to use, even though you get the line correct, it's still wrong. Because the computer is looking for you to plot that X and Y intercept, and if you go up here in quadrant 1 and plot 2 or 3 points, and you're not putting the X and Y intercept, it's going to mark it wrong. And I'm glad it does that. Because we do not, I've told you this before, we do not have different methods to make you mad. We have different methods because it saves time. Okay. That's probably the help desk. All right? Well, what about the third method? The third method will be saying graph using the y-intercept and what?
A point.
And slope. Or slope and y-intercept. And when you see those directions, you use method what?
3.
Method 3. Well, dadgummit, Hubert, when can I use whatever method I want to? Whenever you see the word graph. So all of this is nice and dandy, but if you just see the word graph, and that's it, then what method can you use? Any that you choose. When you just see the word graph. And that's true in mostly all of your math courses. Now, question.
Method 3.
Which method are you going to use here? What does it say?
Using.
It says graph, doesn't it?
Do whatever you want.
Do whatever you want. But first, you got to simplify it, because right now it's in the point slope equation. They want you to simplify it first. So simplify that one. Y minus 4 is equal to negative 4 times parentheses x minus 6. Y minus 4 is equal to negative 4 times x minus 6. Why do they give you this type written like that? Because they want you to have extra practice with simplifying the point slope equation. So distribute the what?
Negative 4.
And that gives you y minus 4 is equal to negative 4x plus 24. Y is equal to negative 4x. What's 24 plus 4?
28.
There is your equation, and now you use whatever method you want to. So go ahead and do that.
Would you not divide by negative 4 to finish it out?
No, you got y by itself. Remember, your priority is y in your effort, not x.
Okay, I see that.
Okay? So use whatever method you want to. I would not use the intercept method. Somebody tell me why.
Because
Y is too big. Your y-intercept is too big. The y-intercept is what? 28. What does your graph go up to?
20.
So I would not use method 2. I would use method 1 or 3. And I would not use method 3 because, again, the y-intercept is too what? It's too big. So that leaves us with method 1.
And method 3 is the building a line,
Mhm.
correct?
-2, -1, 0, 1, and 2. What's -2 times -4?
Positive 8.
And what's 8 plus 28?
36.
-4, that's 4 plus 28 is what? 0 plus 28 is, you see a pattern? You're subtracting what?
4.
So that'd be 24 and
20.
20, and you can keep on going. What would 3 be?
22.
16. What would 4 be?
Sorry.
And you can keep going that way because your graph is going to be between 20. You need to at least have, you're going to use these points right here because your y, the highest point your y can go is 20. So. And how do you graph it? Well, you hit these 2 buttons right here. Wait a minute, clear. You hit these 2, the button that has a straight line, because we haven't learned how to graph nonlinear. And I'm just going to pick 2 points, 2 and 20. 2 and 20. And look, they even give you a little box down here to make sure that you're on 2 and 20. I'm not on 2 and 20, so I need to fix it. And then make sure that thing says 2 and 20. And when it says 2 and 20, you hit the left button 1 time. And then do 3 and 16. There's 3. And there's my line. And that's how you do graphing. Alrighty, let me call the roll and stop everything. And then y'all should be